kind of money, Mr. Lonergan, he said in a mild tone. My uncle's voice was cold. You'll cover less bills from a hospital bed, Persky. The only reason you're getting off this easily is that I want this deal made. Persky looked at me. He knew when he was licked. I'm working for you, he said. Good, I smiled. We get lucky, we'll get more bread. I got your word, he said, holding out his hand. Shake. Everything seems okay, Verita said. But there's one more thing that I think is necessary. An indemnification guarantee against the past debts and taxes of the company signed by Mr. Lonergan. Kohler sounded annoyed. Mr. Lonergan is not a principal in this deal. There's no reason for him to sign a paper like that. Besides, you already have Mr. Persky's signature. Verita looked at me for support. Mr. Kohler, I said, I can't pay Mr. Persky enough money to make his signature worth the paper it's written on. Mr. Lonergan told me I would have the paper free and clear. If I don't get it that way, I don't want it. Mr. Lonergan never, Kohler began. My uncle interrupted him. Prepare the guarantee, Mr. Kohler. I'll sign it. I can't have it until tomorrow. There's no one in my office today. You'll have it tomorrow, Gareth. Will my word do? Yes, Uncle John. My uncle smiled. And by the time I left, I owned a newspaper. We pushed our way through the crowd as Nathan Howells and sat down at Bobby's table. How'd it go? He asked. We're in business, I said. Chapter 7. It was a little more than 2 weeks later that Lonergan came down to the store, the first edition of the New Hollywood Express clutched in his hand. He pushed his way past the crowd of kids who were busy cleaning and painting to my desk at the back of the room. He threw the paper down in front of me. What the hell are you trying to pull? You wanted the paper in a hurry. I got it out. You call this a paper? He stormed. There's nothing in it but my ads. Who the hell do you think's going to look at that? Who the hell looked at the others? And your headline. This edition was published solely in order not to disappoint the readers who had come to depend on us for a superior brand of toilet paper. I don't think that's funny. I do. It's vulgar and in bad taste. That's right, I agreed. You can't expect me to pay you $3,200 a week for that. If you do, you have another thing coming. You'll pay me, Uncle John, I said quietly. We have a firm contract which you signed. It says we publish 4 pages of classified in every issue. There's nothing in the contract that says we have to print anything else. I'm not going to pay. Then you're going to get sued. It's a perfectly valid contract. Suddenly he began to smile. Okay, I'll pay. Now will you tell me what this is all about? It's going to take me 8 to 10 weeks to put together the kind of paper I want to publish. Until then, I need the bread that your ads give me. You could have told me that. I would have given you the time. But not the money. 32 grand is a lot of bread. We still can't put out a paper like this. It's like waving a red flag in front of the IRS. That's not my problem. If I advance you the money, will you hold up until the paper is ready? No, advances have to be earned out or repaid. He was silent for a moment. If I give you $25,000 cash free and clear, will you hold up? No payback, no strings. No strings. Deal. He took a checkbook out of his inside pocket, wrote the check, and handed it to me. Thanks, Uncle John. I have only one consolation, Gareth, he said. If I had to get stung, at least it was all in the family. I laughed. I've got the best example in the world, Uncle John. He looked around the store. What are all these kids doing? We're dressing up the place. The kind of paper I want can't be published from a shithouse. Where'd they all come from? The Reverend Gannon's Youth Workshop. They work in their spare time for 50 cents an hour and contribute it to the church. Your boyfriend's father has better business sense than either of us. You can't beat Jesus Christ, he said. He looked back at the paper. Do you have many of these left? No. Too bad. If I had known in time, we would have stopped them from going out. Don't worry about it, Uncle John. Nobody else will see them. How can you be sure? I smiled. I printed only 25 copies, and all of them were delivered to you. Mr. Brendan, the voice was soft.
Wait, what?
I'm sorry to the sense that either of us. You Jesus Christ, he said. He looked back at the paper. Do you have many of these left? No. Too bad. If I had known in time, we would have stopped them from going out. Don't worry about it, Uncle John. Nobody else will see them. How can you be sure? I smiled. I printed only 25 copies, and all of them were delivered to you. Mr. Brendan, the voice was soft. I'm sorry to bother you, Mr. Brendan. I looked up. It was one of the girls from Reverend Sam's youth workshop. She stood in front of me almost apologetically, the tight jeans splitting her cunt and hugging her ass, the loose boy's shirt accentuating the curve of her breasts. Her arms and face were smudged with paint. I'm sorry to bother you, Mr. Brendan, she repeated, but we're ready to begin work back here. Of course. Let me get my papers off the desk and I'll be out of your way. Can I help, Mr. Brendan? Thanks. If you'll carry these, I can manage the rest. She took a stack of folders from my hands. I picked up the typewriter and we went up the back stairs to the apartment. I spread out on one of the tables we had set up in what used to be the living room. Is there anything else I can do for you, Mr. Brendan? I don't think so. She made no move to leave. Is there something else? I asked. Bobby said that you were looking for a secretary, but that you couldn't afford to pay very much. That's right. I'm a secretary. I graduated from Sawyer Business College. You take shorthand? Not too well, but I'm a very fast typist, 80 words a minute. She brushed her long brown hair back from her face. And I know filing, too. What's your name? Denise Brace. Where do you live, Denise? At the workshop. How old are you? 17. I'll be 18 next month. How come you're not living at home? Her dark eyes met mine. I got pregnant. My father threw me out. Reverend Sam took me in and looked after me. What about the baby? Reverend Sam arranged for it to be adopted. It was the best thing. I was only 16 when it happened. And you've been at the workshop ever since? She nodded. Reverend Sam is wonderful to me, to all of us. All he wants for us is to be happy and to serve the Lord. And when you work, you give all your salary to him? No, to the workshop. Don't you keep any for yourself? I asked curiously. Why? There was an earnest look on her face. I don't need anything. The workshop gives us everything we need. Are there many like you in the workshop? About 60 or 70. More girls than boys. And they all do the same thing that you do? Turn their money over to the workshop? She nodded. What do you do when you're not working? We spread God's love. We sell tracts and pamphlets. We keep busy. And all the money goes to Reverend Sam? Not to him. Reverend Sam isn't interested in money. It goes to the church and to the workshop to help in the good work. Lonergan was right. Reverend Sam had a better thing going than either of us. I looked at her clear, guileless face. You know you're a very pretty girl, I said. Thank you, she smiled. But there was coquettishness in her smile. Well, whether I could have you work for me, I said. It would be too tempting. I might want to make love to you. I'd like that, she said simply. I mean real love, not just petting and kissing. I know what you mean. What about Reverend Sam? Isn't that considered sinful? Not to Reverend Sam. He preaches that our bodies have needs as much as our souls, and that love can be expressed with both. I thought that over for a moment. Aren't you afraid you'll become pregnant again? She laughed. No chance. The head go with any of the girls? No. Reverend Sam is above all that. He lives on a higher plane. You mean he doesn't have any sex? I didn't say that. We all live on different planes. I'm on the 5th plane. I'm allowed to relate to people as high as the 3rd plane. Only those on the 1st and 2nd planes can relate physically to the Reverend. I see. What does it take to move up to the other planes? Good work. Devotion to the church. Complete honesty in your relations with others. That's all. She nodded. turn your money over to the workshop. No, she said quickly. We don't have to. We do it because we want to. Would you still do that if you came to work for me? Yes, she said. Her eyes looked down into mine. May I ask you a question? Sure. I know Bobby's in love with you, and I think that girl Verita is too. Are you in love with them? I love them, I said. I'm not in love with them. But you have sex with them? Yes. I would like to have sex with you. Do you think I might join you sometime? I didn't answer. You wouldn't have to give me the job, she said quickly. That's not it. What is it then? You're way ahead of me. For one thing, you're on a higher plane. For another, you're not 18 yet. She smiled suddenly. That's honest, she said approvingly. And honesty puts you on the 5th plane automatically. She went to the door and looked back at me. Wait for me, she said. I'll be back next month on my birthday.
Oh, shit!
Chapter 8. The distributors want to see a mock-up before they even talk to me, Gursky said. And they said if you don't come up with good pictures, not to bother coming in. What do they mean, good pictures? I asked. Girls, he said flatly. Tits and ass they already got. They want cunt pictures. Did you tell them about the editorial policy? They don't give a damn. Words is something they read after they buy the paper. Pictures is what grabs them. Okay, we'll get pictures then. It ain't that easy. The agencies and the photographers will break you. We can't compete for the exclusives. We haven't that kind of bread. Then we'll shoot our own. You know some photographers? He asked. We'll find them. Meanwhile, get in touch with the movie studios. I want to get on their press lists. They're always sending out pictures of starlets. That's not the kind of pictures they're talking about. I know, but it's a beginning. There may be some we can use. I got an idea, he said. He went to his desk and returned with his attaché case. He took out some small magazines and spread them on the desk. The titles blew my mind. Anal sex, oral sex, lesbian love, fuck party. I picked up one and riffled through the pages. It was exactly what the title said it was. Where'd you get these? From Ronzi Distributors. They got them under the counters all over town at $5 a pop. They got a proposition for us. We give them an exclusive distribution deal, and they'll look the other way if we lift a few pictures. Of course, we'll have to crop them carefully so that nobody can trace them. We'd be off the stands in a minute if we printed pictures like these. We crop them to show only the girls. Who's behind Ronzi? I asked. He looked uncomfortable. I don't know. Some guys from back east, I hear. Mafia. Like I said, I don't know. What else do they want besides exclusive? We didn't go into that. Set up a meeting. I'd like to talk to them. Sure. I'll get right on. His voice trailed off, and I followed his gaze out the front door. The black Mercedes stretch-out 600 limousine was rolling to a stop. The uniformed chauffeur leapt out and opened the rear door. I immediately recognized the man who got out of the car. I had seen him often on television. What I hadn't realized was how large he was in person, over 6'4", and with shoulders so broad that he had to turn sideways to come through the doorway. The kids stopped working. Their voices were filled with hushed respect. Peace and love, Reverend Sam. He held up a benevolent hand. God is love, my children, he rumbled with a warm smile. God is love, they answered in unison. He came through the store toward my desk. I rose to my feet as he approached, making everything in the store look dwarfed beside him. Mr. Brendan? Yes, Reverend Sam. He held out a hand. God is love. It's a pleasure to meet you, boy. I took his hand and felt not only his tremendous strength, but a flow of energy that seemed electrically charged. My pleasure, sir. What can I do for you? He glanced sideways at Gursky. Is there someplace we can talk privately? Of course. Follow me. I led him up the back stairs to the apartment and closed the door behind us. It's okay. I waved him to a chair at the small kitchen table. Have coffee or something? Oh, thank you. His eyes were appraising. I came to thank you in person. What? My son, Bobby, he answered. You did something I've never been able to do. You straightened him up. He puzzled. In some ways, I mean. I laughed. I don't want you giving me too much credit. He was still smiling. in his life, somebody got him to work. Maybe nobody ever offered him a job before. I offered many times, but he wasn't interested. You're his father, I said. As far as he was concerned, that didn't count. Maybe that's it. Anyway, he's a different person now. He's not just drifting anymore. I was silent. I had nothing more to say about Bobby, but I could tell that he wasn't finished. You know Bobby's homosexual. I nodded. Are you? He smiled. I don't think so. You're not sure? I shrugged. There was a time when I was sure of everything. Now I know better. He glanced around the small apartment. You live here? I will after Bobby gets through fixing it up. Right now, he's scouring the second-hand stores for furniture. He tells me that you will need advertising to stay in business. That's right. Do you have any now? I'm guaranteed 4 pages an issue. Could you use more? Of course. My church advertises regularly in the papers and on radio and television. I could take some space and ask businessmen in my congregation to do the same. I'd appreciate that, I said. But wouldn't it be better if you see the kind of paper we put out first? You object to religious advertising? No, but you might not like what we do. Bobby already told me you're going to print pictures of naked women and write about sex and drugs. I have no objections to that. It's part of life. I'm a preacher, not a saint or a moralist. I want to help people find themselves and lead happy lives. Isn't that what you're trying to do in your own way? I used to, but the ideals are gone. Now all I want to do is make a lot of money. Nothing the matter with that either. He chuckled deep in his throat. I've managed to do pretty well combining the two. He didn't have to tell me how successful he'd been. I had heard how the money poured in. I'd like to buy a piece of your paper, he said. Sorry, I made a rule when I went into this. No partners. His eyes were shrewd. I hear Lonergan has a piece. You heard wrong. He has a contract guaranteeing 4 pages of advertising an issue, which he subcontracts out of his advertising agency. He has nothing to do with the ownership or the running of the paper. That's smart of him. By the way he said it, I knew he had figured out Lonergan's interest. We should be getting out our first issue in 2-3 weeks. Why don't you look at it and then let me know what you want to do? I already know what I want to do. How much for a full page? I don't know yet. We haven't worked out a rate sheet. How much is Lonergan guaranteeing you a page? 800. Think that's fair? I nodded. I'll take 1 page a week for a year, he said. He reached into his pocket, came out with a roll of money, and began counting $1,000 bills onto the table. When he got to 40, he pushed the pile of bills toward me. I think buying a year in advance entitles me to 2 weeks free. You're entitled to more than that. I'm satisfied. You don't have to pay in advance. What if the paper doesn't last a year? He smiled. That advance should increase your odds on staying in business. You can use the money to put out a better paper. There are still no guarantees. He got to his feet. Then I'll play the devil. I'll deal for your soul. If you fold before the year is out, you can come to one of my services and consider the bill paid. Chapter 9. Ronzi Distributors was located in an old 1-story warehouse. I followed Persky up the loading platform and into the long, narrow building. Racks of books and magazines ran throughout the building, seemingly without any kind of system. We walked past the shipping tables at which a few men were busy packing and filling orders, and down the dirty aisles to the back of the warehouse, where there was an office of sorts behind a glass partition. It was an open area with several desks scattered around, and one large desk off by itself in a corner. 2 women and a man were at the smaller desks. Both women were on the phone taking orders. The man seemed to be making up invoices. He looked up. Ronzi's expecting you, he said, picking up the phone. I'll call him. A few minutes later, a burly-looking Italian with thick black curly hair and heavy eyebrows.
I overslept today, comma. Now I gotta play catch up.
CEO Bob Chapek announced that Marvel Studios Shanghai and The Legend of the Ten Rings and 20th Century Studios Free Guy will both open exclusively in theaters and will play for 45 days before they transition to streaming, reports Variety.
Oh my god, me too, so bad. I'll watch anything with Ryan Reynolds, as long as it's not a sappy love story. I remembered not to watch it. I'll go see Free Guy in theaters. I'll go see Free Guy in theaters. Period. If I still ate carbohydrates, I would even buy popcorn. Never even thought about blackmail, that's a good idea. I've been waiting for years to see Free Guy. I feel like I've been waiting for years to see Free Guy. if I didn't enjoy it, comma, I would still probably enjoy it. Just cracks me up so much. Just cracks me up so much. Does. That would be fucking funny. I even watch his stupid gin and cell phone commercials. I might have subscribed to his channel. I would imagine those notifications go to everyone in Vancouver.
Giuseppe Ronzi, he said. Come over here and sit down. We followed him to the big desk. He threw some books and magazines off the chairs and onto the floor. One of the girls silently left her desk and picked them up as we sat down. You got a mock-up? He asked me. No, but he cut me off. He stared at Persky belligerently. I told you not to come out here without a mock-up. I got no time to waste with amateurs. He got to his feet. God damn it. It's tough enough trying to run a business without... Mr. Ronzi, I said softly, how would you like exclusive distribution of Playboy in the LA area? He looked at me with an expression of disbelief. What'd you say? I made my voice a little louder. Didn't you hear me? I heard something about Playboy. You heard me, I said still louder. You interested? I gotta be crazy not to be. Is that what you told Hefner when he came around the first time? You know fucking well I never got a chance at it. He never asked me. Then don't make the same mistake twice. How can I make the same mistake twice when I never made it the first time? He turned to Joe. What's the matter with this guy? He crazy or something? He's crazy, Joe said, smiling. I got to my feet. Okay, Joe, let's go. Joe got out of his chair. So did Ronzi. Where the hell are you going? Ronzi shouted. I thought you guys came out here for a meeting. You said you wanted a mock-up. Since I don't have one, I won't waste your time. Sit down, he said. You're here. We might as well talk. I returned to my seat. Okay. Who is behind you? Lonergan? Who's behind you? The Mafia? Don't be a smartass. You want us to distribute your paper, don't you? I don't know yet. You haven't made me an offer. How the hell do I know what to offer until I know what you got to sell? That's a good question. If it's the same throwaway rag it used to be, I don't want it at any price. Neither do I. I got 8,000 racks spread around. That's good. You give me a raunchy paper and I get you into 2,000 of them. 10 in each. That's 20,000 copies. At a dime a pop for you, that's $2,000 clear. That's not bad. Not for you it isn't, I said. But the kind of quality I plan to put into the paper, I have to net at least 5,000 an issue to get whole. You are crazy. There ain't a freebie paper in town that's good for 50,000 copies a week. That's what you told Hefner, I said. How many times do I have to tell you I never spoke to the man? He shouted. I laughed. Just a figure of speech. You would have told him exactly what you're telling me. You ain't Hugh Hefner yet. That's right, I agreed. But how do you know who I'll be tomorrow? He turned to Joe. How come you bring me all the crazies? Joe smiled. If he were sane, he wouldn't go into this business. Ronzi turned back to me. 30,000 copy guarantee. Cash in advance. I'll eat the returns for an exclusive. Not enough. 40,000 copies at 12.5 cents on the same basis. You're exclusive for the first year only. My partners won't go for it. I got no protection. What if the fucking thing takes off? I get left holding my cock while you grab the brass ring. You can always give me more money. He scowled. I'd feel better if you give me just one idea of what I'm buying. I had it in. By now he was convinced that he was turning down Hugh Hefner, but I still had to come up with the clincher. Who buys these magazines and papers? I asked, stalling for time. Guys buy them. Who else? Why do they buy them? Pussy. They get their rocks off on the pictures. They're always looking for something new. He didn't know me, but he had just given me the idea. Now you're getting warm. I am? He was puzzled. I looked at Joe. I wanted to think the expression on his face was one of respect, but it was probably simply wonder about what I was going to come up with next. The idea was shaping up, but I needed a few seconds more to get it together. I lobbed the ball at Persky. Okay, Joe, you want to tell him or should I? You're the boss. You tell him. He sounded uncomfortable, not wanting to get caught off base. I lowered my voice. It's got to be confidential. Not a word outside this office. I don't want anybody stealing this one. I'm like a priest at confession. I don't tell nobody. Pussy banner headline. New girl in town. A beautiful chick in micro mini or hot pants carrying a small valise at a bus or train station or an airport. Streamer headline right across her cunt in bold white letters. See her naked in our centerfold. And there's a new girl each and every week. 52 weeks a year. Ronzi's mouth was open. That's fucking genius. Why didn't you tell me before, Joe? I got Joe off the hook. He was bound to secrecy. It's great. You know what I like about it? She's naked inside the paper, not outside. That means they gotta buy it to see her. You got the idea. I'll take the 40, but you gotta give me an overrun. Consignment and the free...
saw that movie in theaters. If I remember right, I was the only one in the theater, or maybe there were a handful of people at most. Watch Blake Lively in a bikini for 90 minutes. I feel bad for hating her for so long. Brie Larson. Yeah, cancel culture is ridiculous. known when her trainer posted a video talking about how cool she was. Lock it down, lock it down.
Typically, assholes don't last long in the movie industry unless they have a long career behind them, so people put up with it.
Yeah, comma, just look at Ellen DeGeneres.
Good on her to call it quits when it's obviously not working so well anymore.
In 3/4 of a mile, keep left.
Pass me now. I'll let you pass me. I kind of feel like she doesn't have much of a choice, comma, but I don't really know that much about the whole story. Oh my God. It happens to lots of people. really fault her too bad. Fault her. Yeah, comma, hopefully she didn't yell at too many people before then. Yeah, comma, it's kind of a weird format. I didn't realize it was that long. I probably won't even drive a truck that long. could understand being burned out and frustrated. Kevin Spacey just seems like a creepy gay dude that you would meet at a bar. Invitation. groped by creepy gay dudes is not fun. Period. It makes you wonder what the fuck they're thinking.
In 1.25 miles, keep left, then keep right.
I just got a new follower, comma. That makes 2 today. Comma, LOL.
Donkey Dink. Said no problem.
Wait, can you hear me?
Donkey Dink. Said yes.
Oh, that's interesting. It's supposed to be muted, but I do appreciate the follow. That's weird.
Donkey Dink. Said lol.
So I guess you heard me talking about Ellen DeGeneres and Kevin Spacey.
Donkey Dink. Said I just tuned in 10 seconds ago.
Oh. Well, you followed me really quick. I was just talking to my buddy about how it was weird that, like, Kevin Spacey just would, like, grope dudes on set. And also how Ellen DeGeneres kind of, like, I mean, she basically got, I don't know, I kind of feel like she got canceled, but at the same time, like, I could kind of understand her frustration, because it's, I would imagine it's a hard thing to do to run a show like that for so long. That show started in 2003. I could understand her frustration to some degree. I don't know. I mean, it's not cool to be mean to people, but I don't know. Everybody has, well, even normal people have, like, anger issues. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for the follow. Well, I guess I'll leave the microphone on now, but yeah. Yeah, I'm just stuck in traffic. I think I'm in Des Moines or outside Des Moines, Iowa. I don't know. I'm gonna have to zoom out a little bit on my GPS.
Donkey Ding. Said I am from Europe.
Oh, that's cool. What part of Europe? Yeah, it's Des Moines, Iowa.
Donkey Ding. Said I can't sleep, that's why I am watching.
Oh, well.
Donkey Ding. Said Germany.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I have another follower from Germany. He's pretty cool. I don't know where he's been lately, but actually, my buddy that I was talking to, he's German also, but he lives in Canada. His grandparents moved here after the war. You know, the war that we don't talk about in polite company.
Donkey Ding. Said Canada is beautiful. I wish I could live there.
Yeah, you and me both. It's really, really hard to immigrate into Canada. I've because I was gonna try to immigrate there as a truck driver, because they need truck drivers in Canada, but it turns out I actually had a guy that did the hiring for a Canadian company. He said as a general, like, unspoken rule, they don't hire Americans. I was like, wow, I was like, well, fuck me, right?
Donkey Ding. Said, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I thought it was super weird that he told me that, but it kind of let me know what I was up against. And I did some more digging, and come to find out, like, I would have to take a 50% pay cut to get hired on by one of these crappy companies that they have this labor market something that they can hire you with. I don't know. It's like a whole thing. But yeah, any Canadian company that would actually hire me, I would have to take a 50% pay cut, and that's ridiculous. So I guess I'm stuck in America. That's the point of the story.
Donkey Ding. Said in Germany all the truck drivers come from Eastern Europe and they work for like $4 an hour.
That's not very much money. That's well, I guess you could say technically, I don't know. It's hard to say. I I guess,
Donkey Ding. Said yeah, they sometimes come from the Ukraine and there is war there.
yeah, the Ukraine, that's a tough one. I feel bad for the Ukraine. I've met some Ukrainian girls over the years, and they really, that's a tough situation. I remember when the Ukraine was still part of Russia. I remember when all those countries were still part of Russia. That's such a whole weird thing that happened with Russia, how it got split like that, and now, and it's like nobody's really helping out the Ukraine because nobody wants to go against Russia.
Keep right.
Man, this,
Donkey Ding. Said yeah, a lot of weird stuff happened.
man, this traffic sucks. Somebody said on the radio there was a wreck on the right up ahead. On the right shoulder, he says.
Donkey Ding. Said I always think truck driving is much too dangerous and wonder who would choose to do it.
Well, it can be dangerous, but once you learn how to drive a truck, once you get used to doing it, it's these trucks are a lot safer than you would think. I mean, I don't know what the European trucks are like. I would imagine they're much the same, but they have a lot of safety features. Like my truck has radar. Like if I turn on cruise control, like it'll speed up and slow down for me. And if it's loaded in good conditions, I mean, you could stop pretty quick. I like to tell people the hard part is backing up. Anybody can drive.
Donkey Ding. Said a lot of truck accidents are when one truck drives onto another one and the drivers just get scotched.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the worst accidents for sure. Excuse me. It's as long as you kind of keep your wits about you, it's not too bad.
Donkey Ding. Said maybe I am just too scared, I don't know.
I mean, it's I've been doing it for like 10 years. So, I mean, I'm, knock on wood, I'm pretty used to it, I guess. It's kind of like you develop a sense of awareness when you drive a car, and once you start driving a truck, you kind of your sense of awareness sort of expands to encompass the whole truck. So you can tell, you know, I like to think of it as like a safety bubble. And like when somebody gets in my safety bubble, like it kind of like sets off a radar in my brain, and I'm like, okay, somebody's too close to me or something. As long as you're a good driver, you could probably do it.
Donkey Ding said, yeah, but what happens if you fall asleep or get a stroke or STH?
Oh well, well you got to be in good condition. I mean, they you have to get a physical every 2 years now to be a truck driver, and you know, I mean, I'm in really good shape. But there's tons of truck drivers that are crazy overweight, like they look like, you know, they could have a heart attack at any moment. But yeah, I mean, I guess you can't fall asleep. The worst accidents tend to happen when the driver falls asleep, or, you know.
Donkey Ding said, yeah, I hope truck conditions are better in the US. There are so many trucks driving in Germany ATM that I don't even drive the car. I take the train instead.
Yeah, that's probably the better move. I mean, it's driving a car is, you know, driving on a road is statistically more dangerous than any other form of travel. But, you know, you can learn how to drive defensively, I guess. I think trucking conditions are better here, just because, I mean, sometimes it's hard to find places to park, but I've heard it's really, really hard in Europe, because there just aren't as many truck stops.
Donkey Ding said, I think the safest form of travel is by cruise ship. Unfortunately, there is no cruise to where I need to go.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've always wanted to take a trip on a cruise ship. I think that would be cool. I have to wait until they get better internet.
Donkey Ding said, you don't have much space in Europe.
Yeah, they kind of built everything already, so they can't really, you know, add in truck stops. And as a result, there's nowhere for trucks to park. It's like that. I've been to Canada a few times. It's like that in a few places in Canada, and they, you know, I guess they just kind of allow you to park wherever you can park, especially if you're in the middle of nowhere. inhabited space than there is like cities and stuff. A lot of people don't realize that, I feel like. But I mean, like,
Donkey Ding said also nobody here cares about truck drivers. I saw a news video yesterday. Truck drivers often need to wait up to 4 days until they can unload at an Amazon warehouse.
oh my God, I would go crazy. I would lose my mind. If I have to wait, like, the longest I've ever had to wait was like 9 hours, and I thought I was going to blow a gasket. I thought I was going to fight somebody. Like, I'm not a violent person, but I was ready to fight somebody. If I had to wait days, I would. I mean, that's not even efficient. Like, that's so inefficient. Like, it blows my mind. I hope that's not true. Oh my God, that's awful. Usually Amazon's pretty good here. I don't like doing their loads because...
Donkey Ding said Amazon only put 2 road drivers share the same toilet.
Oh my God. Can't really help that. They, yeah, that's a problem here too. I've had to go to the bathroom in many less than ideal places. Also, I don't know who just followed me, but I appreciate it. Somebody else just followed me. That's crazy. That's 3 follows for today. I'm glad I kept streaming. I was getting frustrated because I keep having to restart the stream because I'm on stupid cell phone data. You know, and it's like, I'm sorry. I apologize for the cell phone data. I promise you I'm doing literally the best I can. Excuse me. Smoking a cigar and I'm all phlegmy.
Said mobile in the US is still much better than in Germany.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. See that that tank thing right there? Those kind of containers. Some of those containers can use to be hauled, or can use to be to haul nuclear waste. That could be what that is. I don't think so. 3257. Let's Google 3257 and see what comes up. UN 3257.
Here's some results from a search.
UN 3257.
Here's what I found on the web. Ding.
Yeah, comma, it just says... Oh, wait. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, when
Ding. Said which is also flammable.
Yeah, it's class 9, dangerous. Yeah, I looked it up. It's probably some nasty shit. Class 1 is the scary stuff. Class 1 is the explosives. don't see too many of those, and sometimes you see them with military escorts. That's my lane detection warning. It's so much fun.
Donkey Dink. Said I think in Germany we only put these things on cargo trains.
That makes sense. They definitely put a lot more of it on trains than they do on the roads here. I think only certain companies carry that kind of freight. I've done it before, but I didn't like doing it. It's kind of scary, and you really don't make any more money for doing it. At least not with the company that I was working for. I'm gonna get out from
Donkey
behind.
Dink. Said do you get extra pay for dangerous stuff? Donkey Dink. Said oh.
I used to, I mean, I don't haul anything dangerous now, but I used to, but it wasn't much. It was like $35 for the entire load, like extra. Oh my God, now what's happening?
Donkey Dink. Said what do you think about Biden tax plan?
I haven't looked at it, but it's probably bad. I'm so sorry, Mr. STI.
Donkey Dink. Said yeah true.
I mean, he's it's Biden. That's a whole can of worms. I don't really. I don't really like to talk about political stuff too much, but I'll say this much. I didn't vote in this past election, and I didn't vote in the election before that, because it's like neither candidate was worth a shit, in my opinion. Like I don't think that Biden should have been president. I don't think that Trump should have been
Donkey
president.
Dink. Said yeah both candidates sucked.
I mean, I will say Trump stimulated the economy, but also he was a major asshole. Like, that's one thing I will say. Like, Trump did a lot of good for our economy, and he renegotiated a lot of foreign trade deals and stuff like that, which was a really good thing. But he was just such a jerk that like everybody overlooked the fact that he did good stuff for the country. And Biden.
Dravax. Said hey.
Hey, Dravax. Donkey Dink is also German. So, there you go. You guys are both German, and you're both awake right now. So you guys should both go to sleep.
Dravax. Said oh nice laughing face.
I gotta turn. I can't turn it off. Sorry, we're just gonna have to ride it out. Okay. Okay, now I think it's off. I can't turn it off.
Donkey Ding. Said Trump's grandparents were from Germany and his original name is Drumpf lol.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I read this like conspiracy theory thing about how he was like from the future and stuff, or something crazy like that. It was pretty wild. There's some kind of article. I got a kick out of it though. I should pass this guy or not. I probably should.
Dramax. Said how are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Strongish Gull 9. Said hi hand waving. Dramax. Said I am good I am RLY happy right now.
Well, that's
Donkey Ding.
good.
Said well it's almost 1 a.m. now I will try to go to sleep now.
Yeah, you should,
See ya.
should go to
Dramax.
sleep. It was
Said
nice to
GN
meet you.
aided Donkey Ding.
Good night, guys. And also, hello. I'm going to have to reread your name.
Strongish Gull 9.
Strongish Gull 9. Hello, Strongish Gull 9. I normally don't even stream this late. I still got like a couple more hours to drive though, but I'm going to this like crazy big truck stop, so they'll have plenty of parking. Otherwise, I would not be driving right now. I made it through all the traffic.
Dramax. Said sorry that I'm not that active at the moment.
Oh, it's no problem. I was kind of curious. Have you done any drawings lately?
Dramax. Said not yet had little time and much to worry about.
It's no problem. There's no rush. Take your time. 100%. And like I said before, like I said before, don't feel obligated to if you're busy, obviously you don't have to check in on the stream. You guys have done such a good job with the filtering out of all the different words, like the channel basically moderates itself. So like it's really not a big deal. This guy is gonna be going way too slow for me.
Grayvax said we did win the DFB Cup today, so nice smiley face.
Oh wow, congratulations. I'm guessing that's football.
Grayvax said yay.
Yeah, just not much of a sports fan. I have enough yeah. No time for sports. A lot of my family sports, they like sports. Oh, that's so annoying. Really? That guy pulling that little bitty trailer, he's not supposed to go faster than 90 kph pulling that trailer. It says it on the trailer. I only know that because I've seen enough of those trailers. I couldn't read it or anything. My eyesight's not quite that good. Oh my goodness. Now this guy in front of me, it looks like he's just carrying rocks. That's pretty crazy. They must be freaking heavy. They're really flat. I wonder if they're like making some kind of a fence or wall out of the rocks. No, don't hit your brakes, just go. If I can pass him. I'm going to try to pass him. Oh yeah, those are definitely rocks. Man, that guy's going fast. I wish I could go that fast. Oh, I'm getting hungry. stop and get a snack.